everybody. Chris here. Steven, who's in La La Land right now. Steven.
No, you're Han Solo.
What? Who?
No, Harrison Ford. Don't. Go back to Star Wars. Go back to Star Wars.
Steven.
No more Blade Runner.
Hey.
No more. Where are we?
We're at your house, Steven. It's okay.
Is the movie over?
That was yesterday.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I feel like we just got done with that. Whew. Well, hey, everybody. Oh, that was a good nap.
Apparently we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I'm Steven.
It's Chris.
Yeah, welcome to StarCom Movie News and Reviews. Today, we are reviewing
Blade Runner 2049.
the longest movie ever made.
I still can't believe. There's a lot to get into on this one.
We'll get into it.
So is this official? Are we non-spoiler, spoiler? Where are we at on this one right now? Because there's too much to go into. I feel like this is going to be the spoiler. I feel like this is going to be no.
For now, let's keep it non-spoiler for now.
Okay. All right.
If we got time tonight, and maybe we'll do a spoiler review.
There needs to be a spoiler review. There's too much to go over to not have a spoiler review at this point.
Cheers. Wish I had this yesterday. Okay. So, this movie is directed by Denis Villeneuve. It stars Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford.
Is it Villeneuve or Villeneuve?
No, it's Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
Okay. So, as it sits right now, it's sitting at a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Got an 8.6 out of 10 for IMDb.
Okay. And Roger Ebert gives it a 3.5 out of 4.
I agree with. Okay, I agree partially with what we've seen as far as the reviews go. I think the reviews are pretty solid.
Yeah.
I had a fun time with the movie. I thought it was good. It was in fact 2 hours and 45 minutes.
long.
The original 1982 was an hour and 57 minutes.
They should have took a note out of that book.
I think they had a lot of ground to cover in this movie.
So right now, it's also sitting at $36 million in the box office, which, according to them, is underperforming. I think that's pretty good, personally.
Did we get
for them, it's underperforming.
But did we get an actual price for what they pieced it out at? Like what was the movie? What did it take
what was it made for?
To produce? Yeah, what was?
It's a good question.
We need to look that up.
Well, while I'm looking that up, why don't you go into your most favorite part of the movie and your score out of 10?
Oh, I can't go into my favorite part or parts of the movie without giving out spoilers. How about I just go over a general description of what I appreciated about the movie and what I didn't?
Okay.
General.
Yeah,
I'm going to generalize it for everybody. So I'm a huge Blade Runner fan. I originally watched Blade Runner with my stepdad. He got me into it. It seemed to have picked up a large following through, I'd say, the early to mid 90s. Blade Runner got like a second wind. Obviously, when it originally came out in 1982, it did not do well. It sort of bombed. I think a lot of people couldn't really adhere to the noir kind of futuristic aspect of it. I think people had a hard time coming to grips because you had futuristic and you had detective noir. And so piecing those two together, I think, was kind of a big step for them in 1982. So in the 90s, I watched it. I loved Blade Runner. I thought it was a great movie. It just hit every note for me as far as what I love about sci-fi, what I love about, detective movies. I loved the aspects of it.
Yeah.
So 2049 had some big shoes to step into on that one. I mean, it was a big undertaking for them to try to do something on top of the original. I thought they pulled it off. I thought they did a good job. It was a little long-winded, but as far as I'm concerned, I feel like they covered a lot of really cool twists and turns in that, and they kept it similar, but also different. at the same time. So it was similar to the original, but it also had a lot of its own nuances, which I thought was really cool. I didn't like how they did leave some things undone, which I feel probably didn't help it in the box office. And it was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
My turn?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm scared. I don't want to.
Well, folks, this movie was way, way, way too long. They could have kept it at the original Blade Runner runtime and still got the same exact story across. This movie, for all the setup that this movie had throughout the entire runtime, they set you up for these storylines. Oh, a little twist there, a little twist here. They set it up, and there was absolutely no payoff whatsoever. The movie ends, and you're like, oh, that's it. Huh. Well, that's a way to end the movie. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, this is probably one of the best shot movies I have ever seen. The visuals in this movie are great. The sounds, the soundtrack. There's a lot of throwbacks to the original Blade Runner.
Great.
Now, me personally, I had just seen Blade Runner for the first time probably 4 or 5 months ago. I rented it and watched it for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. But
I feel like you need to watch it more times than just once. There's
Maybe.
so many little aspects, little pieces to the original that you really have to get a hold of to really understand why they did what they did in 2049.
yeah,
Watching it one time, it is not enough. It's
I-
enough to get you hooked, but not enough to get you 100% there.
I'm sorry. I watched this, and it was like watching your reactions while we're watching the movie was fun. Like, you were really excited. Me, I was sitting there like, can we move it along here? Let's move along the storyline. It was just, there was a lot of development for no story ending. Like, I did enjoy the love story between Ryan Gosling's character Kay and Joy. That was a really good part. It was kind of cool how they did that. We won't give any spoilers to what that's all about, but that part of it's really cool.
That is a key aspect to Ryan Gosling's development of his character. Was the relationship between them.
I did think Harrison Ford did a great job in this movie. Now if you're going in this expecting that Harrison Ford is a big part of this movie, he's really not. He's not a big part of the story.
He is.
He's a big part of it.
He's a big.
He's not in a lot of the movie. How about that?
You don't have to be
No.
It's like you don't have to be in the entire movie to be a big aspect of the movie.
I'll be honest. I thought he was going to be in the majority of the movie, and he wasn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected him to be in it more than he was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about Deckard. It was about Ryan Gosling and who he was, police officer K or Agent K. It was about his storyline and where it took him in relation to Deckard and the aspects of the original.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
The years that spanned in between the original and now was a lot of time to cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot of development that needed to happen. And I think you're right. I think they could have cut down a little bit and gotten the same thing across.
Yeah.
But they wanted you to feel what was going on with that world, because it wasn't really the same world that Deckard was in the original. It really wasn't the same world. It was a lot of aspects of that were not the same. Okay. And so they had to rebuild that world while giving you hints that, hey, it's a new world, but it's based on the old world. Yeah. And I think that takes time. Okay. I really do.
And another part I really liked in this movie, I thought Jared Leto, he did a really good job in this. I really liked his character.
I don't think he got enough time.
He didn't.
I really don't.
They must be working on a sequel to this as well.
I agree.
They have to be.
I agree.
It's not Terrell. It's
What?
What's the name of his company? It's not Terrell.
Wallace.
Wallace. Yeah.
Wallace.
Terrell was the first company.
Terrell was the first company in the original. He's dead as shit.
Yeah.
And
it's,
then
Wallace. So.
And then, but okay, as the main antagonist in this,
he's a secondary antagonist.
you think he was the secondary? No, he's
the
the main. Okay, he was the main, the secondary main antagonist. They did a good job with that person. I don't want to give too much away, but that person.
Those are kind of in the trailers.
Are they? Is she in the trailer?
It's kind of. She's
His
kind of in the
assistant?
trailer. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So okay.
she was the main villain, I will say.
Let's as a comparison, we'll go Empire Strikes Back. You see the Emperor.
Mhm.
You see the Emperor. He's technically the overall main antagonist, but he's in it for a small portion of the time. Darth Vader's the real main antagonist, but he's really the secondary.
The secondary.
Second
main.
in
The
charge.
Second main.
Second in charge.
Yes.
So
He's the face of the evil.
That's what I
basically.
put Jared Leto in. So.
That same category. Huh?
Yeah. I'll do it like that.
Okay.
So, okay, out of 10, what do you rate the movie?
Out of 10 for me, I'm going to give it a solid 9. No, I'm going to give it a solid 9.
You're fucking
I think. Why?
Okay, hold on. What do you give the original Blade Runner?
The original?
Yeah, what do you give the original Blade Runner?
That's a 9.5 for me. It's
9.5.
It's a
So
9.5.
You're telling me this movie is half a point less than the original Blade Runner?
Yes.
You're out of your mind.
Why the hell not?
Because it wasn't that good.
This fucking Joker.
It wasn't that good.
What? This one?
Yes.
You're high. He's high. Everybody, don't listen to him.
Oh my god.
It was on par. It was on par with the original. I mean, as far as the artistic
Oh my God.
value, the story building, the noir, the aspects that they created in this, I thought they did a great job.
nuts.
Well, how?
You're nuts. It's not anywhere. It doesn't even scratch the surface of the original one.
You saw it one time.
I
lived that life, bro.
I love the original Blade Runner.
I grew up in
really
that
liked it.
neighborhood. I went
really
to
liked it.
school with Blade Runner's
So,
friends.
The original
like
Blade
that
Runner,
kind of
I will
in
agree with
there.
him. The original Blade Runner is about a
9.5.
9.5 for me. That's what I give it. This, I give it a 7.5.
Wow.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I can't even sit
It
next
was
to you right
so boring.
now. Oh my god.
It took forever to get to the end, and when you got to the end, there was nothing there.
You didn't like the length of the story building. You didn't like the length of the character growth. You didn't like the length
They could have cut out half of that bullshit and made this movie a 2-hour movie, and they would have benefited from it. If this was a 2-hour movie that I sat through, they cut out the bullshit and got to that same exact ending, I would have been fine with it, because I'd been like, okay, they're setting up for the next movie, which is fine. I like that. I appreciate it. That would have been a much better way to go. But no, instead, they gave us this movie that lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes, and about an hour of it was bullshit.
An hour? A whole hour?
An hour, 45 minutes maybe, was just straight bullshit, and it didn't need to be in the movie. I
don't
didn't.
agree with that. I don't agree with that.
No, don't get me wrong. This is for a sequel. It's not Blade Runner's Empire Strikes Back, where it was Empire Strikes Back. I think is better than A New Hope. But it was an okay sequel to a movie franchise that's been away for 30-something years.
Yeah, but like I said though, you needed a really long build-up time because you had to show that it was in the same world, but also not the same.
You just have replicants and flying cars, and people are going to know it's in the same world.
No, it doesn't work like that.
They did that with a little freaking crawl screen right at the beginning of the movie. They told you in a couple paragraphs what had been going on.
Well, just because they tell you what's going on doesn't mean that I can totally imagine. No, it doesn't work like that. You have the imagery, the building up, the scenes, the long spans,
I got the
long
imagery.
drive times. I mean,
I got the imagery, but I did not like, or I did not get what the heck was going on. I mean, I understood what was going on, but why did they need to take 2 hours and 45 minutes to tell us that story?
Well, maybe there is going to be a second. Maybe there's going to be a...
Hey, you wanted to know what the cost to make this movie was?
What?
It was $150 million. $150 million to make this movie. You cut 45 minutes out of that movie. They could have lowered their budget, and now $36 million over the weekend looked better. They were expecting $50 million opening weekend.
Right.
That's what they were gunning for.
Here's the other part
and
of
they're
that.
getting 36.
Is that even though it picked up big chunks of fame through the 90s, I really don't think there was a large enough
no, I mean
mass audience to really appreciate
no, like
Blade
you,
Runner
like you said, when
2049
when this movie originally came out back in the 80s, it bombed in theaters.
It did not do that.
But it was a great movie. I like I said, I just watched it for the first time this year. I loved it. I loved the movie.
You've only seen it
I
once,
was
though.
disappointed in this. It doesn't
No,
matter if I've
continue.
seen it once or 100 times. I can give my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And okay, so I didn't like this movie. You did.
I love this movie. I thought it was great.
All movies are subjective, and it was all good. So, did I think it was a worthy sequel? Sure. It was a good.
That wasn't heartfelt.
It was a good.
Nobody believes you right now.
It was a good footnote in the story of Blade Runner. Hopefully they give us a good ending to the next one. Or hopefully
If there's a next one.
all this story.
There has to be a next one. There's too much. There's too much involved in
not
it.
if it bombs.
To not.
If it bombs and they lose a lot of money, who says there's going to be a next one?
Well, maybe it's. But like I said, I don't feel like there was a big enough target audience for this. This
What are
was.
you talking
This
about?
was. Okay, a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, I remember that Blade Runner film." Yeah,
Okay, but
let's go check it out.
But like you said, it
But-
came out in the 80s, it bombed. It started getting steam in the 90s and 2000s, and people recently have been talking about, oh, Blade Runner, this was so good. How did it bomb in the 80s? Those people went to see this movie.
Did they? Did they though?
Yeah.
I
But,
don't know.
are they going back? Would you go back today and go rewatch that movie? Is there rewatchability?
I would, because I feel like there was
You
a
would.
lot of subtleties that I didn't catch in the first one.
You would. I would not. This is not one of those movies like, say, Star Wars or a good Marvel movie that you go back.
It's not
you
the
go back to
same,
watch
though.
it
It's
again.
not-
You go back to watch it again because you had a pleasurable experience at the movie theater. You are not going back to see this movie because you had a great time. Because you loved this movie. You are not going back multiple times to see it. And that's why their box office
It's
for
not
this
even
weekend,
in the same category.
that is
as
why
that, though.
their box office numbers are down for their opening weekend.
But it's
other
not. It's not
movies
in
you
the
go
same
back and
category
see.
as those, though.
It's
Those
not
are like
sci-fi?
feel good sci-fi.
It's not
It's not
sci-fi?
the same. It's not
It's
the
not
same
sci-fi?
thing. It's
Han
not the same
Solo
thing.
died in The Force Awakens. You think that's feel good?
I think that but there's certain aspects of that need to be grippy and edgy and different and all these other things. Noir isn't like that. It's not like that. There's long character buildups, there's twists, there's turns, there's aspects to it that take a while to explain, and it's not like a cut dry Marvel movie,
It didn't
which you
take,
can't even
it didn't
compare
take
it
very
to.
long to develop Ryan Gosling. They told you everything you need to know about Ryan Gosling in the first 20 minutes of this movie.
Obviously,
There was no secret to what
obviously
what
our
Ryan
opinions
Gosling.
are different. Our opinions are different. But look, this was our non-spoiler. I feel like there would be a whole nother 20-minute segment for us to
Yeah, we
actually
need to
break
go into
it
that.
down and go into it, which hopefully we will get time to do.
Yeah. So
I'm getting married on this Saturday,
yeah, you are.
so this week is definitely out for that.
Yeah. Hopefully after this review, I'm still the best man.
Yes, you absolutely will be.
Okay.
That hasn't changed anything.
All right, good.
I like our banter. I like that we
No,
have
and
different
this
opinions.
is the first one where we disagree on a movie.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we've had a little bit of a disagreement on some
not
things
much.
and other movies,
Not
but
much.
this is the big one where it's kind of like, I'm a huge Blade Runner fan. I like big build-ups. I like long shots and scenes that are different from what you would see.
You
in
really
a
liked the
movie.
Titanic, didn't you?
I hated the Titanic.
I bet you love the Titanic.
You know, I
at
actually
least at
cried
the,
the
at least
first
at the
time I watched
end
it.
of Titanic, that boat sank and it was at least a little exciting.
You're telling me she couldn't move her fat ass over and let him on the freaking door?
Fuck them.
Eh,
All right, well we gotta wrap this. We gotta wrap this up here.
Okay.
So hey, folks, later tonight, super exciting. We're gonna see the new Last Jedi trailer.
Woo.
It's on Monday Night Football tonight. So
I'm excited.
come back, check out our reaction for that. We're gonna be filming that. And as always, I'm Steven.
I'm Chris.
Stay beautiful.
Check you later. I hope we didn't do all that just now and your mom didn't hit the right button. That's what you get for having your mom do it, Steven.
She did.